then you get stunted. There is a very nice anonymous saying in one of Deepak Chopra's books: people don't grow old. When they stop growing, they become old. So it's not a question of chronological age, it's a question of whether you retain the capacity to learn. And therefore, learning to know is the first capacity, and that is very, very important, particularly in the knowledge society into which we are moving. All sorts of new ideas are opening up. It's astounding what is happening, whether it is the elegant dance of the galaxies or the subatomic dance of the subatomic particles. Everything is in motion. One thing is very clear. So everything. Samyak samsarati iti samsara. Everything is in motion. Nothing is static. And therefore this capacity to get involved in these processes of change, I think, are tremendously important. The second pillar, and each one of these points, of course, can be developed at great length, but I'm simply going to give you the broad parameters. The first one we identified was learning to know, and the second one was learning to do. If the learning to know is the Jnana Yoga, learning to do is the Karma Yoga. Because what is the use of producing tens of thousands of young people, millions of young people, who then have nothing to do? And this is where we have a serious mismatch in our educational system. We have the meaningless drift from school to college, and we are churning out millions of graduates every year who do not get any employment, who ultimately become frustrated and ultimately become unemployable. And so unless we link in some method way the learning to know with learning to do, we will not fulfill our goals. We tried that with the +2 system, you remember, that has failed miserably. The idea of +2 was that after the 10th standard you would choose either humanities or commerce or science, you would go off into that direction. That hasn't worked. +2 has now become the norm. Fair enough. What we now need are thousands and thousands of ITIs. IITs are fine. IITs are very good. They are among the best in the world. We are opening new ones. But ITIs, industrial training institutes, who would train the intermediate level intellects who do not necessarily have to go to a college or to a university, but who can nonetheless learn productive trades. Today we can put a satellite into outer space, but you can't get anybody to repair your television set. So this is it's a very curious situation. And there's a marvelous quote from a man called John Gardner, who wrote a book, The Ambidextrous Universe. He said that a society that honors philosophy because it looks upon it as a noble undertaking, and looks down on plumbing because it thinks it's a lowly occupation, will get the worst of both worlds. Neither its theories nor its pipes will hold water. So the thing is, it's not what you do that's important. The question is, you must be doing something. You must be doing something productive and something useful. And it's the attitude of mind. There's a story of when the great Brihadishwara temple was being built 1,000 years ago in Tanjavur. The emperor Rajaraja Chola went out to inspect the work. And as he went, he came across one man who was cutting stone. And he said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Sir, I'm cutting stone." He went a little further, met the second man who was doing the same thing. He said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Sir, I'm earning a living for my family." He went to the third person, doing the same thing. "What are you doing?" He said, "Sir, I'm building the greatest temple in the world." So all of them were doing the same thing. The first one was just a tamasic mechanical job. The second one was at least Rajasic, he was doing it for his family. The third one had the vision of what it is that he was building. So when you learn to do, it doesn't really matter what you do. The important thing is the attitude in which you do it and whether you are able to do something which is really worthwhile or not. Because we have to now develop innovative technologies. Distance education now has become very important. Open universities, open schools, the capacity for people to learn. And this also involves the whole question, when you talk about learning to do, the whole question about curriculum development, which of course is a different thing. But skill in works, yoga karma kaushalam, a very interesting definition of yoga. It's skill in works. We have too much shoddy workmanship in India. The sort of chalta hai philosophy. We can't keep our toilets clean. I once said in Parliament that if we can have clean toilets in India, we will have solved half our problem. We can't maintain anything. You put up a beautiful new building, and within 6 months the pipes will be broken, the toilets will be stinking, and the whole place will be. Why can we not keep our institutions clean? Because of the dushta parampara of the safai karmachari who is supposed to do the job for us, instead of doing it ourselves. In the West, you don't come across safai karmacharis, you don't even do it yourself. If you live in North America and it snows, you and your wife have got to get out and shovel the snow out of your door, otherwise you can't get out of your house. But here, of course, there will be somebody who will come and do it. It's not our job. You go to a flat in Delhi, flat is beautifully decorated, lakhs of rupees worth of it. You come out into the steps, it's dark and the bulb is fused. And why? Because that is nobody's baby. Apna theek hai, kachra bahar phenk do, koi fark nahi padta. So this whole attitude of life is the opposite of yoga karma supasana. So when you learn to do, you must learn to do it in an attitude of a quest for perfection. Unless you have a quest, you may not achieve perfection. But if you don't have a quest for perfection, then you will never get there.